Right. Good evening, everybody, and once again, welcome to another episode of our 30 Days Health Restore Challenge. And for the last 2 weeks, we've been having interesting conversations around lifestyle diseases and how they affect us, and how we can use food as a tool to be able to reverse these diseases. We've been having conversations with Dr. Torbi, a medical doctor here in Ghana, and we've been having conversations with Dr. Serap Ganiovis, who joins us all the way from Turkey. It's been scary, it's been very informative, it's been very educative as well. We've had so many habits, reforms right here on this platform. And my name, once again, is Holali Belechu, and I'm coming to you live from Bien Manger, Accra, Ghana. Last week, we had an interesting conversation with Dr. Toby on the topic hypertension, and we looked at kidney failures and all of that as well in subsequent episodes. Tonight, we are going to be looking at two very interesting topics. They are twins in the medical field. They just like any other lifestyle disease, these two lifestyle diseases relate. It's going to be his next birthday. So, like I said before, make a date with us next week, which is a day before Dr. Toby's next birthday. So, on this platform, we're going to be celebrating him because it's going to be his birthday. I know he's smiling wherever he is right now because he doesn't even know that I know it's his birthday next week, Friday. Okay. So, we are live and Khaled coming to you. Today, we are doing cholesterol and heart diseases. Good evening,
Wow.
Dr. Toby.
Good evening, Olali.
I pulled a
Fantastic seeing you
surprise
once
on you.
again.
I'm also
Yeah,
excited
big
to
one.
see you. Yes, yes. Right. So last week we had an interesting conversation around kidney failures or diabetes, and it was really alarming. Per the revelations you gave us, we looked at the data surrounding diabetes in Ghana, the data across the world. We looked at hypertension. We looked at, all the pros and cons of not eating well and what medication can also do to our health. Today, we are moving straight away to heart disease. But how have you been? We need to know our doctor. Is
Oh,
our doctor safe and sound? Because he's always there taking care of patients.
Doctor is safe and sound by the grace. He's doing well.
We thank God. We thank God for your life. And we are most grateful. Dr. Toby is one of the medical doctors that we are partnering with to bring to you this 30 Days Health Restore program. And you can see he's fairly a young medical doctor who's been practicing for some time now. And so he knows his trade and he knows what there is. He helped us to decipher some myths about some of the lifestyle diseases in the past week. And today we are diving straight into diabetes. But before we do the cholesterol and heart diseases, we're going to take a short breather, and I'm going to introduce to you now, because we are doing the 30 Days Health Restore Challenge. It comes with meals, and we've had Chef Gina, helping us with some amazing meals. So I just want us to take a breather and look at,
Okay.
some of the meals she's prepared, especially for today. Today is day 17, and I'm just going to bring up
Wow.
one of the meals that she's prepared in the last 17 days. Wow, we're doing so very well. It's been 17 days of trying to stay healthy. I know it's not been easy, but it's
Wow.
worth it. So please stay tuned. We'll be right back after this video.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to day 17. And our menu for today is beans and plantain porridge. So I cooked my beans already. So this time I'm going to add my tomato paste with chili pepper and onion blended together, and then chop onion, half my Cajun spice, and then also have a little bit of salt, and then add my ginger and garlic, then I'll put it on fire. So beans is ready to add the ripe plantain in. So this time we are going to wait for 3 minutes, then it's done. Our beans is ready. No oil. Instead of you to fry the plantain, you can do it like this in the house for the children, and it tastes nice. They will enjoy it. So I'm ready to serve. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow morning. Bye.
Eat well. And that is what we are doing. And that's what we've been doing for the last 17 days. We've been trying to eat well. So today we are doing heart diseases and cholesterol. Dr. Torbi.
Hi.
What is heart disease?
Wow. Sounds like the most difficult question I've had to answer today. Heart disease. Okay, let me take it from this point. The heart is an organ.
Now, what we do on this show is to try and make it as simple as possible so everyone anywhere in the world can really understand. So if you notice, I've tried to restrict Dr. Torbi to basic English terminologies. He's not using a lot of the medical terms that will throw people overboard. So basic explanations for everybody to understand. Yes, Dr. Torbi, please go ahead.
So heart disease, just like the heart is an organ in the body. So any disease that can affect the heart qualifies to be called a heart disease. Now, I think so we can have infections of the heart. We can even have cancer of the heart. We can have disease where there is reduced blood supply to the heart. We can have a whole number of things. But I think for the purposes of this 30-day health restore challenge, we have to limit ourselves to the diseases that affects the heart, that lifestyle changes can do something about.
Okay.
So with that being said, then we'll talk about what we call ischemic heart disease or coronary heart disease. Now, I'm sure almost everybody can see some blood vessel on their hands or somewhere on some part of the body. Okay. The heart pumps blood to every organ in the body, but also the heart pumps blood to itself. It's like beer manger Ghana, selling cookware, you are encouraging people to eat healthy. But it's not just for the people. You are also patronizing your own stuff.
Of course.
So the heart is pumping blood to every organ in the body, but the heart also needs to supply itself. Okay. So now when we say, so the blood vessel that takes blood from the heart to the heart,
I'm
the
getting
blood
it.
vessel
Yes.
that takes blood from the
Heart.
inside of the heart to the cells of the heart for the heart to use to continue working. We call it the coronary artery.
Okay.
Okay. Now, so you can say coronary artery disease.
Okay.
I mean,
So, Doc, I'm just going to display this.
Yeah, great picture. It
Okay.
tells all the story for our.
Yes, I'm trying to see how I can adjust the screen so that people can see what's behind us. Let's see. It's technology, so we're trying to get used to the technology.
We'll get there.
Okay. Let me see. Okay, so this is what I'll do.
Okay. I think we can project the pictures, and I'll just be talking in the background.
Okay, let's go ahead. I'll try and find a way of we bringing up the image and then you talking about it later. Yeah.
Okay. Sure. I really loved the pictures. It summarizes what we're talking about today. Because the cholesterol and the heart disease, they are all contained in those pictures we projected. So we really love that. It comes back for us all to see.
Yes, we're trying to see how best we can rectify it so it comes up. But you were talking about the coronary artery disease. Now that would be a big one for someone. Can you break when you talk about the coronary? What does it mean?
So as I started there by saying that almost anybody can see veins on their body, most especially on their hands. I mean, everybody has seen a blood vessel before, just under the skin. Okay, that's a vein. When you go deeper under the skin, then you see the artery. Most of us cannot. The artery is not visible as a protrusion on the surface of the skin as we see in the veins for most people. I mean, those who gym a lot, they have a lot of veins visible in their hand. So that's just an illustration of the blood vessels. The heart also has that. Okay. Now, if there's any disease of the blood vessel of the heart, we call it coronary artery disease because the blood vessel that supplies the heart with blood is the coronary artery. Okay. Now, there is another name. So what kind of disease it is? Okay. There can be an infection. There can be a narrowing of the lumen. I think the picture you projected, the last of them showed a vessel with a very narrow lumen. Okay. Now, when that happens, what it means is that the amount of space left for blood to flow through has reduced. Okay. So if it happens like that, that means that the amount of blood going to the heart will definitely reduce. Okay. Now, if we have a reduction in the amount of blood going to any part of the body, the medical term for that is ischemia.
Ischemia.
Yeah. Okay. So now we have coronary artery disease, which is disease of the blood vessels of the heart. And then we have ischemia, which is reduction in the blood flow to any part of the body at all. Okay. Now, if we just take the pictures to project to be the blood vessels that supply the heart. It means is that there is a disease of the blood vessel supplying blood to the heart, which has caused the lumen of the blood vessel to narrow,
Okay.
effectively reducing the amount of blood going to the heart. Okay. So then we can call that ischemic heart disease
Okay.
or coronary artery disease. I hope I've been able to.
Perfectly. Yes, sir.
And then the things that can cause the blood vessel lumen to narrow, that is the root cause of the problem. And cholesterol is one of them.
Cholesterol is one of them.
Or,
So that means
yeah,
that
or fats in general.
great. So you are saying that okay, you said cholesterol is one of them, but what is the major factor that would lead factor for heart disease? What's the major contributing factor for heart disease?
Okay, studies have been done severally over many years, and they found out that there's what we call atheroma. You know,
Atheroma.
atheroma is the most atheroma, yeah, Atherona. You know, I'm trying very hard not to use medical jargon, but
So we'll just break
so
them down. We'll just break them down for
yeah,
everyone's consumption.
everyone can understand. Okay, so when we
Yes.
say atheroma,
Yes.
atheroma means that okay, atheroma is a plaque, or
Mm.
let's say a solid particle, which mostly contains uh, lipids, the other name for fat, of which cholesterol is part.
Okay.
You understand? Uh-huh. So then, when that builds up under the inner lumen of the blood vessel wall, other cells of the body will add to it, and then it keeps increasing in size. So that
Okay.
thing that forms there is, okay, I think you can take our face. If you take our faces off, can we still talk in the show?
If I take our faces off, we might be muted. So I'm getting help from our London studio to see if they can help me rearrange it. So we'll just leave it on the background
Oh,
like that and see if anything can be done about it. Yes.
okay. So pale yellow thing we see inside the lumen of the blood vessel shown in the picture, which is looking like it is narrowing the lumen of the blood vessel. That pale yellow thing is what we call the atheroma. It is a congregation of the excess fats we have in the body, together with some of the cells of the body, like the platelets that help our blood to clot, and some other things we have in our blood vessels. So they keep aggregating together, increasing in size until there is a total occlusion of the lumen of the blood vessel, in which case there will be total cut off of blood to the heart. And if
Okay.
that happens, no blood, no life, heart
No
dies,
blood, no life.
and the human being follows.
So it's in stages, you mean? With the
Yeah, it's
explanation
the
you've
stages.
given, it's a build up. So
Yeah.
what would really amount to that? Where does it begin
Wow.
from, and what should we be looking out for even before it gets there?
Okay. So then we'll talk about risk factors. If you noticed, all the diseases we've spoken about over the few weeks we've been on the show, they all had something that has to do with our lifestyle.
Yeah.
But then again, most of them also had a genetic component to it. Okay. So same thing here. When we talk about cholesterol, there is a genetic component of high
Yeah.
cholesterol. Right? Uh-huh. So some people can inherit that disease from their parents, where their genetic makeup predisposes them to higher amount of cholesterol in their blood than the normal population. Okay. Now that is one. If you remember when we were talking about diabetes, we mentioned that even though genetic predisposition is important, it accounts for only just a third of the
Yes.
total susceptibility.
Yeah.
I don't know the percentage uh, that the family history or family disease of cholesterol poses here. But of course, it is an important risk factor. So if you have that background established, and then we have what we call the environmental factors, which include the diet, our diet, our physical activity level, certain lifestyle choices like smoking, like drinking alcohol, and some of the things we eat. Those are and then sedentary lifestyle. Those all contribute to the risk, so that you are being hit from two sides, the genetic
Two sides.
aspect and
And
then
then the
the
lifestyle.
environmental aspect. Okay. Now for somebody to get to a stage where the lumen of the blood vessel is occluded enough for the person to start showing symptoms, it takes between 10 to 15 years. So it's quite a long time. Okay.
Wow,
But as
hold
I
on,
said,
doc. Are you saying that before someone will begin to show signs and symptoms, or the person will begin to feel as though they are getting uncomfortable, it could take up to 15 years? Did you say it could take up to
yeah,
15 years?
yeah, it could take between 10 and 15 years for them.
Mm,
So, uh, the picture that you showed,
yeah.
the first picture, there was no narrowing in the lumen. And then the second picture, there's some narrowing of the lumen and the blood vessel. And then the last picture, there was significant narrowing of the lumen of the blood vessel.
Yeah.
Now, by the time you start from the stage where there was no narrowing to a point where there is a significant narrowing that could cause you to show symptoms, that whole process can take up to 15 years.
Wow.
Okay. But for those who have a very high risk from the genetic aspect, it can take shorter.
Okay.
Okay. But averagely, by 10 to 15 years, if you've had this disease, your blood vessel lumen would have narrowed significantly for you to start experiencing symptoms. Now, um, the extent of narrowing obviously determines the number of or the severity of symptoms that you show. And so if let's take for example the middle picture where there is some narrowing but it's not total occlusion. Okay. In that picture, you may not show any symptom at all. Because I mean, if you are going about your normal daily activities, you may not require so much exertion that you need so much energy. Okay, so you may be fine. But if there is increased demand, for example, maybe if you start running or you are climbing stairs or you are doing some strenuous exercise, where the
Yeah.
demand for oxygen becomes high or the demand for blood becomes high, then you may begin to show symptoms. And in the absence of physical exertion, you may be fine until there is further narrowing where you can begin to experience symptoms at rest.
Wow. That's so much information you are sharing there, Dr. Toby. And the reason I'm getting concerned is when you touched on the fact that it could take up to 15 years for someone who is coming from the angle of the, let's say, the environmental. But someone who is
Yeah.
genetic, it could even be shorter. It could be within 5 years. Is that why today we have as young as maybe, even as young as 10 years, you have kids that are showing signs for heart diseases?
Yeah, in children, most of the heart disease they get either they inherited it from their parents or there was some genetic something, or maybe when they were younger, they got some infection of the heart, which is now having a telling effect on the functions of the heart later on in life. But the one that we are talking about here, the ischemic heart disease or the coronary artery disease, it is not as common in children.
Children.
Okay.
Okay.
Usually it is common in middle income, young and young and middle age, middle
Okay.
age people.
Okay. Middle age. Okay. Okay. Great.
Yeah.
Now, Doc, is it, well, the question I have, it's something that I know is on the heart of a lot of people when it
Okay.
comes to heart diseases. Is it possible that someone could have that heart disease, still come to the clinic or the health center, would go for a health checkup and nothing will be seen in that regard, with regards to the coronary artery disease?
Mm, so then it will depend on the kind of health screening that the person has done. Now, when we are doing health screening, I mean, it depends on what we are looking out for. So then, if you are checking for blood glucose, for example, a study was done in Australia and New Zealand. Okay, and then they realized that those who come to the emergency, their blood glucose level about 7. Okay, they may have up to a 30% risk of getting a major heart disease. Okay. Uh-huh. So then it's not for nothing that you may hear health workers talking about checking your sugar level and doing your sugar level and all of that. Now, all these lifestyle diseases are related. So, like hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, obesity, all these things contribute to increasing your risk of getting a heart disease. Now, if you come to the hospital and we screen you for, say, your hemoglobin level or the amount of blood you have in your body, it may not have any bearing on whether you get a heart disease or not. Okay, but then if you do your cholesterol level, you can use that to calculate your cardiovascular risk or the risk of getting a heart disease. If you do your sugar level, it can give us an idea that because if the person has diabetes, it increases the risk of getting a heart disease. Okay, then we can also do an ECG. If so, as we mentioned at the beginning, the narrowing of the blood vessel that supplies blood to the heart is a progressive problem. So it starts slow. As I said, it can take as much as 15 years for you to get to a critical stage where you start showing symptoms. Okay. So by the time you get to a stage where you are showing symptoms overtly, the heart would have, sensed the danger. Okay. So if the blood supply to the heart is reducing over time, it's like stress on the heart. Okay. So then if you do what we call an ECG, what we take, it shows the electrical activity of the heart. It can show us, or I mean, give us an indication that your heart is probably undergoing some stress, which is maybe as a result of the progressive reduction in the amount of blood it is getting. Okay. So if you do this particular type of um, screening for you, it may give us
Yeah.
an indication. Your blood sugar level may give us an indication, and then your cholesterol level to may also give us an indication because you can use these things to calculate the risk. So
Yeah.
it depends on what the person does at screening.
Okay.
If you do a totally
So
different unrelated screen,
on the screen, I don't know if you can see, we have the three
yeah,
stages.
I can see.
Now, yeah, even though it might not be as clear, I think we are getting there. So you can see the first one is reading healthy artery, second one is partially blocked artery, and then the last one is the blocked artery. And Dr. Toby has walked us through the reasons that we would have this closure or the blockage in our arteries. And he's explained what the artery should look like. In a layman's term, it's just like your drain in the sink in your kitchen where you wash and then the wastewater goes through to the drain. But here you will realize that if you begin to wash dishes with oils and stuff like that, dirt, and your sink gets choked, the water will not be able to travel out smoothly. And that's the same thing that happens with the arteries. So, Dr. Toby, now that we have the image up, I believe maybe you want to touch a little bit on it. Then we look at the the immediate activities that we undertake. I know you touched a bit on sedentary and eating and all of that, but we want to hit them right on the head. Let's look at some of the activities or things that we do as people that would expose us to the last stage of the, the heart disease as we see it here.
Okay. Okay. So going over the pictures again, we can see that the first one they've written that healthy artery. We
Yes.
can see some white things inside. The artery actually just carries or transports things around our body. We can take that to mean maybe the telephone pole that brings landline to our houses, or okay, let's say the water uh, pipes that bring
Drain.
water from Ghana Water Company to our homes. Okay, and we need water to survive. So yeah, these vessels take blood from the heart to everywhere in the body, including the heart itself. So for you to be at optimum function, you need your arteries to be the first one, the one on the extreme left, in
Let's.
my view here. Okay. Where there is no occlusion, there is no narrowing, blood flows freely to anywhere it needs to go to. Now, when we look at the second one, you can see that there's some whitish or some, pale yellow stuff
Yeah.
inside the lumen, which seems to have narrowed the lumen a bit. Mostly, it has been found that atheroma is the most common cause of this picture we are seeing here. And as I explained earlier, when we say atheroma, we mean an aggregation of fat or lipids, of which cholesterol is one, together with some cells of the body like platelets, which help our blood to flow. They keep aggregating, and they keep growing in size gradually over time until they have occluded the lumen totally or almost totally, as you can see in the last picture on the extreme right. Okay. Now, as we mentioned earlier, the two main things we explained, where we say coronary artery disease and then ischemic heart disease, or we say that the coronary artery is the artery that supplies blood to the heart, and then ischemia is a reduction in the amount of blood that flows. So now, if we take these pictures to be the coronary arteries, then it means that there is a disease of this coronary artery here. And what disease it is? It is a narrowing of the lumen, which is reducing the amount of blood that's getting to the heart. And just like anywhere, any organ in the body, if you're not getting enough blood, the blood carries oxygen that helps us to, break down the food that we eat so that we can get energy. Okay. Now, if you're not getting that, obviously, in quotes, the heart will be hungry, and when it is hungry, it starts showing or giving us some indications like chest pain, stuff like that. And then if you do further tests like ECG, we may see, indications of that. Okay, so that is what we have here. Now, you asked that we talk about some of the things that we do that can push somebody from the picture on the left to the
Left
picture on
to
the
the
right.
right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I said that the most important factor medically to be the cause of this is atherosclerosis, where we have a buildup of fat under the inner lumen of your blood vessel, which keeps growing over time. And then may end up with the last picture on the right, where there is very little blood going to the heart. And then the heart starts giving the person indications and then they come with the signs they come with. Now, as I said, uh, when we say high cholesterol levels in the blood, that's a disease that you can inherit from those who gave birth to us, But some people also can just develop that purely from lifestyle.
Yeah.
Okay. And then over the last days of this show, we've mentioned certain lifestyle decisions or activities that we do that increase our risk of getting all this. Now, hypertension as a disease can increase somebody's risk of getting here. Diabetes as a disease can increase somebody's risk of getting here. Obesity, if you are fat beyond what is medically recommended, it increases your risk of getting here. If you have excess cholesterol in your blood, it increases your risk of getting here. If you smoke, if you drink alcohol, if you live a sedentary lifestyle, they all increase your risk of getting here, where you may have a total or almost total occlusion of the blood vessel delivering blood to the heart, and then the patient becomes with a heart attack or chest pain or something of the sort.
Wow. Wow. So for one to be able to move from left to right, you could, well, let me put it this way. I've met a lot of people who say, well, I don't think smoking is harmful. I don't think taking oil is bad. I have only one life and therefore I must enjoy. So, and this is something that we do not see with the naked eyes. How concerned should we be? Because this is within, and like you said from the onset, it's going to take up to about between 10 to 15 years. That's if it's going to be an environmental factor that would lead to this. It's going to take between 10 to 15 years before someone will begin to even realize or show signs and symptoms of this particular, artery blockage or whatever disease it's got to link with the heart. How concerned should one be even before we begin to look at the identical signs and symptoms that someone would see physically?
Okay. So the amount of concern, if I were anybody, I should be very, very concerned, because when you get to the level where there is total or near total occlusion of the vessel carrying blood to the heart, and the person gets a heart attack. Now, despite advances in medical therapy or medical management, it's been found that up to 50% of those with the heart attack can die within the first 2 hours of onset of the symptoms.
50%.
Up to 50% can die within 2 hours
Wow.
of onset of the symptoms. Now, I
I
mean, if
see.
that does not alarm anybody, it alarms me.
Within two
So
hours of
within two
taking.
hours, if somebody,
Look, Dr. Toby, you know what? This 30 days health challenge has kind of like opened my eyes and my mind to really appreciate the energy some people like yourself put into educating the public about health and nutrition. Because if you will take my body, which is $1 billion body, which makes me the money that I have, or which would give me the opportunity to travel to all the places I want to travel to, and on 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 the blind side, there are certain things that I would do that would deteriorate the body, then I should be extra careful. And I'm telling everyone joining us on this episode for today that look, you might think you look healthy on the outside, but the most important job for you now is the inside. And that is why our Health Restore Challenge is not focusing on the physical, but it's focusing on the inside within. So you can see, I think it's here behind me. You can see what we are trying to do on this 30 days Health Restore Challenge is to actually help everybody to be able to work on this. This is the engine. This is the control room of the human body. And if you're able to take care of the inside, I'm sure we'll be able to take care of the outside. And with all Dr. Toby has said today, it means that there are a lot of us out there who are very innocent of the health challenges we even have at the moment, or the illnesses we have developed. Because if you have lived for more than 2 decades, I believe according to our survey, we have between the ages of 20 to about 75 years old people. So if you have lived for more than 2 decades, then it means that you should be really, really concerned about what you eat, what you drink, how you cook your food, and how you source your food. Because he's mentioned that there are lipids, and most of them that goes into the streams of the blood that causes the coronary blockage, or the artery blockage, is cholesterol, and cholesterol is fat. So if we have all of these, then you should know that, look, you should be watching out for your health. All right. So, Dr. Toby, now let's look at some of the symptoms, some of the physical things we would see. Since this is something that happens within, what are some of the things that we can see physically that will prompt you that, well, this is something that looks like a threat? This is something that is telling me that, look, I could have heart disease on the way, or I could have cholesterol, shooting up.
okay. So we are talking about two diseases today. So we'll try and link the two.
Yes.
If you have a disease where your cholesterol level is high, you may show certain lesions on your skin. Okay. I mean, you may not find it in everybody, but some people can just show some lesions on the skin. We call them. I'm trying not to use medical jargons, but call them xanthomas or xanthelasma. Let's forget about that. But then so if somebody starts, seeing some funny skin lesions, okay, or certain rashes or some stuff like that on their skin, and then you may have problems with your joints, and then you may, have problems in your vision. Okay, like you are having problems seeing very well, having problems with your joints, and at the same time you are seeing certain skin lesions on your body. It may be a sign of high cholesterol or high fats. You know, the fats we have different types, but I mean that's for the medical professionals to determine. But I mean these three should at least you know cause you to want to seek attention. Okay, and
So
then
you're
what
saying
comes
that, so you're saying, look, you're saying that it's not every eyesight issue that is ordinary. I don't even see why someone will take a sight issue as an ordinary thing and say, oh, I just have pains in the eyes and I think maybe let me just go and buy an eye drop. Maybe my vision is getting blurry, so I'll just go over the counter and buy an eye drop. But it could be, a symptom to something worse than you could even
right?
imagine.
Exactly.
Wow, this
So
is getting
that's for
interesting and
the.
scary.
The only thing is that the cholesterol bit. I mean, it's not very common.
Okay.
So I mean, most people even these things that I mentioned, the eye signs or the skin rashes or the joint pains. Most people don't show any of these symptoms. All you know is maybe they come to the hospital for a different purpose and we just decide to check their cholesterol level and realize that it's high. And then we use that to calculate their risk of getting a heart disease and realize that that's also high. Meanwhile, prior to their coming to the hospital, they may not have shown any of these skin lesions or any of the eye signs. So, it's not so common to find all three or all the symptoms in a person before the person seeks attention.
Okay.
So that's why we advise that if you can, just do a medical checkup, personal medical checkup, maybe once a year, once every 2 years. They keep you on top of things so that you know where to pay attention to in terms
Okay.
of health. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
And
Doc,
then,
before you
yeah.
proceed, with the artery blockage, I'm still hitting on the artery blockage because I think a lot of us are not aware. A question just came up. Is it only around the heart, or it could occur at any part of the body? Because I know we have veins, like you mentioned early on, we have veins all over the body. Is it only around the heart, or it could happen at any part of the body, any other part of the body?
Okay. So what we are talking about here is primarily an issue of the arteries. Okay. And now there are arteries in every organ of the body, from the head to the toe. Okay.
Wow.
When we have narrow, yeah. So the arteries carry blood from the heart to every organ in the body. So every living tissue in the body, even up to the skin, we all get blood from the heart. So it is the arteries' job to carry blood from the heart to those organs of the body. And
Okay.
then when those organs of the body use the nutrients and the oxygen in the blood, then they will return uh, the blood that they've used up the nutrients from, they will return it to the heart. And
Okay.
that goes back to the heart by the veins, which is the blood vessels that we can see on our skin. Okay. So when it gets to the heart, then the heart will pump it to the lungs. And then the lungs will add oxygen because when we breathe in air, air enters into our lungs. Okay. And then in the lungs, that air enters into the blood. And then it goes back to the heart. And then the heart will pump it to the rest of the body. So it's like a cycle. Okay. So we have arteries in every organ of the body. We have veins in every organ of the body. And if there can be narrowing of the blood vessel of the heart, there can be narrowing of the blood vessels of any organ in the body
Okay.
at all.
Okay.
Now, the ones that are of major concern to us is, when there is narrowing of the arteries in your brain, then the blood supply to the brain or the part that the blood vessel is narrowed, the blood supply there will be cut off or will reduce, and that causes stroke. Okay. Then, if you have a narrowing of the blood vessels in the arteries of the legs, okay, the blood supply to that part of the leg will reduce, and it may even be cut off completely.
Okay.
And
So
that is
that's what
what
we
we
are
call
trying to project up now, which shows
okay,
the one you just spoke about, which is the what you said, something of the
peripheral
leg.
artery.
Come
Yeah,
again?
peripheral artery disease.
peripheral artery disease, which is of the leg. So is this what we have most of the sportsmen suffer, and they call it muscle pull?
Oh, no, 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 not
Okay,
at all.
okay. I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, but now since we are talking about the heart and cholesterol, and this is within, why is it that oftentimes we see people that look so healthy on the outside, like you mentioned, people that gym a lot and all of that, but you'll find that someone is on the field of play, the person is engaged in a game, probably like football, because we've seen that quite a number of times, and then the person snaps out, the person is rushed to the hospital, and the person is not able to make it. It comes out and it says that the person has, had stroke. That was not even diagnosed, because this is someone that goes on the field every day, plays football, exercises, goes to the gym. How is it possible for someone who is engaged in all of those exercises to still, have heart attack?
Okay. I once saw a book in medical school, which was just for heart disease. And it was
Okay,
very, very huge. Okay.
okay,
We have so many diseases that can affect the heart. Okay.
okay,
I mean, I can't begin to enumerate all of them here. We will never finish. Okay. But there are certain diseases of the heart that you may not show any symptom. The only
okay,
symptom you show is you just get a sudden heart attack. Okay.
mm,
Some of these things can be familiar, or like you inherit it from the family. Okay.
okay,
So even though, outwardly you may not show any symptoms, but there's something going on in your heart. There are some
okay,
diseases that the heart just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And then as it starts getting bigger and bigger, the nutrients for it are no longer enough. So when it gets to a point where the nutrients for the heart is smaller than its current size, and it just stops. Okay. So we also say that if there is, if somebody has died of a heart disease in your family at a young age, okay, then you should get yourself checked up to see if you also have that risk or not.
okay,
So for somebody like that, they may not know, just going about their normal duties, even very active, and exercising regularly, but all of a sudden, boom, they are gone.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that's also a thing.
Okay, so what are some of the things that we can do? Now we've looked at the symptoms, we've looked at some of the causes, which are largely on our part as individuals, not taking care of our health, not eating well, not sleeping enough, smoking, drinking, eating a lot of fatty foods. Now, what are some of the things we can do to be able to prevent this? Okay, so this was what you were actually, you know, touching on before I came up with
Uh-huh.
that next question.
Yeah, yeah. So that's a very good picture. So the first one, the one on the left is the normal artery. The one on the right is the one whose lumen is narrowed. So then, as if this happens in the heart, the person gets a chest pain because that's where the heart is. If this happens in the legs, as you can see, the man with the grimace on his face is in pain.
Yes.
So that's the same thing that's happening here. This can get so bad that the leg can become dead, and we may have to amputate. So those are some of the issues that we can get from narrowing of the lumen. If it happens in the brain, then the person may get a stroke. If it happens in the heart, then the person may get a heart attack, and then the person is gone. Now,
Wow.
I want to add something a little more to the issue about somebody being healthy and then all of a sudden gets a heart attack and then the person is gone. Now, when you mentioned risk factors for disease, there is something we call modifiable risk factors and then non-modifiable risk factors. When you say modifiable risk factors, something that we can do something about, we can modify. Okay. Now, if you say non-modifiable, then we cannot do anything about it. Now, you and I are here. We didn't choose our parents. We didn't even choose the country that we are living in. So that's something
Right.
that we could not have changed. Okay. Uh, I mean, you cannot change your age. Okay. So your age is a modifiable risk factor.
Okay.
The family that you are born in is a modifiable risk factor. So then, if your family has a history of heart disease, especially if somebody less than 55 years has had a heart attack or some significant heart disease, it should make you want to take note because that's something you cannot change. It's in the family. You cannot change your family. You can change your skin color, whatever, but you can't really change your family. You cannot change your age. You cannot change your sex, whether you are male or female. You can change genetically, cosmetically, but that's how you that's how you are. Okay. So these are some of the things that can account for the reason why somebody who is seen to be healthy may suddenly develop a heart problem. Okay. Now, the modifiable risk factors like smoking. You can decide to stop smoking. Okay, it's a modifiable risk factor. Alcohol, you can decide to stop alcohol. You can decide to booze on maybe 10 gallons a day. It's something that you can modify. Okay, your weight, you can change your weight. That's something that we can modify. Your activity levels, sedentary lifestyle, you can decide to exercise or be more active. It's something you can change. Okay, so those are the modifiable risk factors. Now, if you have a non-modifiable risk factor, and then the modifiable risk factors, you also have that, your chances are higher than somebody with just one.
Yeah.
Okay. So then maybe if you have a family history of people dying early from heart disease, and you are smoking, you are drinking alcohol, and you are not active. We just have to tell. It just explains itself. Then you are at double danger or even triple danger. Okay. Yeah.
Yes, I
Then we can
wanted
move.
to ask now, is there no law or could there be no law that would kind of like sanction people that comes to the hospital with issues like this? And when you investigate them, you realize that it's a deliberate lifestyle act that actually led them on that tangent. Is there, or maybe doctors, do you have anything that you do to such people? Because from what you have said, it is our own deliberate act most of the times. You give, the percentage at a point where people, especially the hereditary, or if it's inherited from parents, it's not as much as those that are exposed to it from, environmental factors.
You know, we health workers, we are concerned about the patient's well-being, and most of the time, these modifiable risk factors, like if you take alcohol for example, if alcohol abuse or dependence on alcohol is a disease, you know, even though it started as a habit, it gets to a point that stopping becomes more difficult. So that makes it a disease that may need a medical intervention. Okay. Smoking, I haven't seen that it has been treated as a disease yet. But people have their freedom to choose what to do. We can't force them to live a certain life they should live. We can only advise, recommend, counsel, educate people on what to do to live in optimum health. But there's nothing we can do to force people to take a particular course of action. We only explain to them, give them all the options, and then they take it or they leave it.
Okay. 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 Now, Doc, rounding up, we are almost etching into 1 hour. Now, I want to know, do you think that there can be a remedy for someone who has gotten to stage 3? Because we looked at the image, we started from the first level where we see the veins or the arteries are clear, there is ease flow of blood. We move to the second stage where it begins to clog up with the fluids or the lipids that you mentioned, which you said cholesterol is a major one of them. Then the last stage where we have just a narrow path. So as we can see on the screen, we have just very narrow path for blood flow. Is there remedy for someone at that stage? And what are some of the medical reforms you put in place to be able to help someone at that particular stage?
Okay. So this then comes again to the core or the basic functions of the heart, which is pumping blood to everywhere in the body. Now,
Okay.
if you have the last picture down there, being the situation of the heart, it means that the blood will get into that part of the heart is reduced to start with.
Okay.
Okay. It means that maybe part of that heart may have died or almost dying, so then they cannot do their work well. Okay, so it means that the amount of blood that they will pump to the rest of the body will effectively reduce. Okay. Now, if somebody comes with this problem to the hospital, as I said earlier, early reporting is key. As much as 50% of people who get heart attack symptoms can die within 2 hours of the onset of their symptoms. Okay. Now, if they are able to present to a hospital, where we can detect that this is what the problem is, there are drugs that we can give to reduce the work of the heart so that the heart can rest and then begin to recover. Okay. Now, depending on how quickly the person reports to a hospital, there are some drugs that we can give, which can go and um, destroy or, lies the clot that has formed in the blood vessel. Okay. Now, what we are seeing here is under the inner wall of the blood vessel. If this one ruptures, or like if the top breaks and then that yellow thing dislodges and starts moving around, okay, that's what we call a clot. Okay, there are medical terms for it, but we don't need that now. Okay, so that clot that has dislodged and it's moving around, there are medications that we can give to try to break it down so that it will restore continuity of the lumen of the blood vessel. Okay,
Okay.
and then there are medicines that we can give to try to reduce the cholesterol level in the blood, and then they will educate the patient on graded exercises because as I said, is that you may need to rest. We even give drugs to cause the heart to rest. So immediately after this, you don't need to engage in physical or strenuous exercises. So all those things are things that are geared towards restoring some function to the heart, and
Okay.
you need a medical professional to give guidance on this. So yeah, but within a month of getting a heart attack, studies have shown that about 12% of the people die. So it's a very dangerous disease to have. It's quite
Wow.
dangerous.
12%
There
of
are
the
something we
people
can do.
within a month. Within a month.
Yeah.
So if we take the month of March, if we have about 100 people reporting to the hospital with the issue of a heart disease,
A
if
heart
it's
attack.
a heart attack, it's possible that
Uh,
10% of those people would have gone.
yeah, by the ending of March.
Wow. I don't know
And by
what
six
else you
months
need
time.
to hear. Yes. Okay, please go ahead. Yes, Doc.
And by 6 months time, up to about 20% of them would have died. It's somewhere.
So I don't know what else you need to hear from Dr. Topi today before you take charge of your health. Exercise is key, eating well is key. And on the 30 days health restore challenge, like you have seen from the very first day, all we have tried to do is to get people to eat well, using food as medicine to be able to reverse and prevent lifestyle diseases. And this is what you are getting for free. It's free counseling Dr. Toby is providing for all of us today. He's not charging you. You are just at the comfort of your home, making notes and making sure that you and your family become healthy. Dr. Toby has touched on two topics today. We've done heart disease, we've done cholesterol. They are kind of related because the causes and symptoms are kind of like similar or almost the same. So all we need to do is to be very watchful of what we eat, be very watchful of the lifestyle we have. If you are smoking, Dr. Toby has said you need to quit smoking. It's a gradual process. You can start from, deciding to take, I don't know if I'm permitted to say that, but probably you can start from taking one stick a day or maybe one stick a week. And then with time, you'll be able to give up completely. And then the drinking as well. I mean, why would you want to go soak yourself in alcohol? And why would you also want to feed your body with poison? You are not consuming the right food. You need to be wary. And on the 30 Days Health Restore Challenge, we have Dr. Sarah who has guided us, giving us the menu for every single day breakfast, lunch, supper. We are detoxifying the body, we are detoxifying our lives. So you can see detoxify your body, detoxify your life at the bottom right of your screen. And that is what we have to do every single day. Every single day, you make sure that whatever you are eating for lunch, whatever you are eating for supper, breakfast, is something that is going to revive the body. Like I said to you, December, January, I was down, I was broken. I had lost my strength. But from the 1st of March, from the 1st of March till now, with the 30 days health restore challenge, I have regained myself. I have been rejuvenated. My strength is alive. I am back. I am fired up, and I sleep well. I wake up well. I I feel like a newborn baby now, and that is what we all have to do. And I believe that the organs within my body are rejoicing now. They are like, Hola, you know what? This is what you have to be doing every now and then. And so I want to say a very big thank you to Salad Master for sponsoring the 30 Days Health Restore Challenge. I want to say a very big thank you to Bien Manger Ghana for taking up the challenge, the baton from Nigeria. Now we have it in Ghana. This is day 17. So our day 17 could be your day one. Don't say, oh, it's far gone, it's 17 days already. No. You can start taking action today. Take action today. Day 17 can be your day one. So day 18 is tomorrow, and it should be your day one. Go on our Facebook page, go on the YouTube page. You would find all the recipes there. The video for tomorrow is live up. If you need to speak to anybody, you can call us on +233 50765 7820. The number is on your screen. And in Salad Master, what we do is we change lives, and Bien Manger, we say eat well. Final words from you, Dr. Torbi, and we draw the curtains for today. Final words.
Final words. So I would, we work so hard year in, year out. We get money, we buy flashy things, things that increase our risk of getting diseases. But I would advise that, you can just set aside some percentage of your income to do health screening every year. Okay, so that the doctors or health professionals can point out to you where you need to pay attention to in your life. But, as I said, some of these things you may never know until it is too late to recover. Okay, but then if you know, there's a lot that diet can do, there's a lot that physical exercise can do, there's a lot that activity can do. So if we are able to find these things early enough, and we can take steps to prevent them, we may not need to get to a point where we rely heavily on medications and a lot of medical bills. So yeah,
Wow.
do health screening, seek attention, live a healthy life.
Wow. Dr. Torbi, thank you so much for yet another educational and extremely powerful session today. I picked up a lot, and I know I need to do a lot to take care of my organs, not just the heart alone, but every other organ that is within. And that's going to give me the dream that I want to live. And so from the team here in Bien Manger and Salad Master Worldwide, we want to say a very big thank you to you for taking time once again out of your busy schedule to be on the call. And we look forward to a powerful closure next week. I'm sure would be one of the best not to miss sessions. So wherever you've joined us from, it's me, Olali Delechu, from the studios of Bien Manger, Accra, Ghana. We say a very big thank you to you. And before we go, yes, I'm going to bring up one of the menus again for today, day 17, that Chef Gina actually helped us to prepare. This should encourage you to be able to, stay glued to your food. Your food is your medicine, and let your medicine be your food. Thank you for joining us once again, and have a wonderful night.
Hello, welcome to day 7, and our menu for today's breakfast is pawpaw and avocado smoothie. And our ingredients are pawpaw, dates, tiger nuts, coconuts, groundnuts, half of pear, orange juice, and 1 glass of water. To start, I will begin with my tiger nuts. Tablespoon of coconut. And then I have 1 date. I have to remove the seed from it. A pinch of cinnamon powder. Half pear. And then the groundnuts, I didn't peel it. 1 tablespoon of groundnuts. 1 pair of orange juice. And then the pawpaw, I didn't remove the seed. Keep it, it's very healthy. 1 cup of pawpaw. Then 1 glass of water. Let's do it.